Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host Boise and this is NXT UK Review. We have another double bill episode for you guys. We see if Gallus can continue their impressive momentum when it's Joe Coffey taking on Trent 7. We also have two undefeated streaks going at it when we see Eddie Dennis versus Dave Mastiff, and we also get the unveiling of a new championship for NXT UK. All this and much more, guys. Let's hit the music. So we kicked off the show with the unveiling of a new championship, and that is for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Now this was a really quick segment. It was Triple H there unveiling these beautiful belts, and I cannot believe how beautiful these are. Better than the main roster belts. I'm sorry, but out of all the tag team belts we have the UK, we have the NXT, we have SmackDown and Raw. For me, the UK belts are the best looking ones. They look traditional. They've got the old English, design on it. I just absolutely love it. You also have the side plates which do look like they come off, which is a nice little touch. It's like a mixture between classic style and the NXT style of championship belts, which I really do enjoy. The crest on the front is absolutely beautiful, and you can tell WWE spent a lot of time and effort on these championships. I've got to say, the NXT UK belts, all for me, look fantastic. They are the best looking belts out of all WWE belts right now because they have that unique style for me. But yes, I can't really score the opening segment because it was really quick. It was just like, here's the NXT title belts, and that was about it. But for the design, I am going to score them. I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 because they are absolutely bloody beautiful. But yeah, check them out, guys. There you go. There's an image of them right there. But all that said and done, we did get our first match of the night, and this was Flash Morgan Webster taking on Fabian Aichner. Now this all started because of last week when Mark Andrews took on Aichner, and Aichner started off as a babyface and turned heel, and that was really impressive, and I absolutely enjoyed this. Obviously Webster, being Andrews' tag team and friend, wanted to get revenge on the man who pretty much turned into a bit of an arsehole during their match. So yeah, it was really good. It was great for several reasons. One, Flash Morgan Webster was just brilliant in this babyface kind of role. He looked dazed throughout the whole match, and that's what you wanted. At the start, Aichner came out, was very aggressive. He tried to shake Webster's hand, but Webster wasn't having any of that. Then obviously Aichner, bigger, stronger man, tried to use that over Webster, but Webster, being a smaller yet much more nimble opponent, was able to dodge everything. Obviously the match continued and Aichner's strength did come into play, and that's when Webster's selling was very impressive. Half the time you didn't know if this was going to be a quick pin match or if this was going to go on for longer with so many near pin situations. We got on, and that's what it was. It was a near pin situation match where it looked like Aichner every time was getting more and more dominant, and it just couldn't see a way for Webster to get away from it. We also had like an homage to what happened last week when Aichner threw Webster into the steel steps. Mark Andrews came out at this point to help his friend. This was again really good storytelling. Aichner and Webster do have good chemistry. Obviously Webster didn't really do too much in the ring. When he started to get a bit more momentum, obviously Aichner started to get more and more back, and then he got his momentum back. It was only because of Aichner's own arrogance was the reason he lost the match. He was showing off to Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews stared back at him, but this allowed enough time for Webster to get a quick pin and get the victory. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It's a decent start to the show, and it's really good storytelling at its best. Next up we had Isla Dawn, and she was taking on Killer Kelly. Now for me, Killer Kelly is one of the probably bigger names you can take on to build up an opponent for number one contender. But it's just a shame that Killer Kelly again isn't getting used in a better way, in my opinion. The match itself was fine. It was a very quick match. Isla Dawn put Kelly's leg into a submission lock at the start, which you could say that was causing Kelly a lot of distress. Every time Kelly tried to use her kicks or anything like that, you could definitely see injury towards that, and that was the whole game plan for Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn got a quick pin victory on this because of all the quick injury to Killer Kelly's leg. But it's a bit of a shame. I really think Killer Kelly should be built up. She's one of those people you just look at and you think, my God, just by giving someone a look, she probably would kill you. But yes, I found this to be a good build-up match towards Isla Dawn becoming number one contender. With that said and done, she was interviewed after the match, and she's just said, my aims are at the NXT UK Women's Championship, which obviously caused Rhea Ripley to come out and hold the title and do that. But yeah, it's basic storytelling. You build up a contender by taking on someone who is a bit of a name, but not, too high up in the card, and obviously you call out the champ. But yeah, 6 out of 10. It's doing what it needs to do at this point. Next up, we had Amir, Jordan, and Kenny Williams taking on Zack, Gibson, and James Drake. Now, before this match all started, we had Amir Jordan do a backstage interview about their, his tag team partner, and that they're going to be a serious team, even though everyone thought they were just thrown together. I thought this was a funny interview. Amir Jordan's, came across as a lovable babyface in this interview. Kenny Williams came across as this more serious kind of competitor who's like, look, I love you dancing, dude, but we've got to be serious. We've got to prove to people that we're not just a comedy act here. And I thought that was great. He also had a go at the interviewer for trying to dance, which I thought was great. And then it got straight to the match itself. The match itself was really, really good. I enjoyed the match altogether. Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams got to show off a lot of their acrobatic abilities in this match. They were in control for, I would say, the full start of the match. They were in control of that match, and that was good to see. James Drake selling was fantastic, and then obviously when Zack Gibson got involved, that's when the match really turned a corner, and that allowed the heel team to get what they needed from it. I've got to say, Zack Gibson and James Drake just come across as a really good tag team. I know they've been tagging on the independent route in the UK for some time, but obviously this is, for me, this is a new tag team, and I am very, very impressed with them. They call themselves, they are young veterans, and you can see they remind me of like a revival kind of style where they don't really do a lot of high flying. They're very much fist kind of competitors, and that's how it felt for me. They did get the win, and for me, it was the right decision. The match itself was fun to watch as well, so I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Worth checking out, guys. And this moved us on to the main event of this episode, the first episode of this week, and that was Joe Coffey versus Trent 7. This was built up brilliantly. You had Gallus coming out, Mark, Joe, and Wolfgang all coming out, and they've got their new entrants together. I'm hoping we get to see some ring gear, like some shirts or something soon, because it's cool that they always come out in the NXT UK black shirts, but I want to see them with their own shirts now, like Mustache Mountain have their own designs. But yeah, this was cool. They came out, and you could tell this could be a very difficult match for Trent 7, because obviously Mark and Wolfgang being out there on ringside, making sure Joe has the advantage. But Trent 7 did come out, and he came out with his tag team partner Tyler Bates, the first NXT UK champion, and this was awesome. These guys are cool. Trent 7 and Tyler Bates are just cool guys. They honestly come across as the coolest guys on the main roster, and this match felt like a big match. It didn't take long for the match to get into chaos, and that's what was great. Tyler Bates pretty much dragged Mark and Wolfgang to the back, and it allowed the match to really get back into its own gear. The match started off fine. Both men, Trent Seven did hurt his leg at the start, and that's what really made it look like Mark and Wolfgang were going to get involved, because obviously they saw blood in the water and they wanted to pounce on it. But no, the match itself, after the whole chaotic, start to it, really was entertaining. Both men looked like either one could get the pinfall, and that's what you really want on these big type of matches, especially in your main events. And that's what it was. Trent Seven is fantastic at selling. I always say that. I always love when a wrestler can sell, and Trent Seven is a veteran of the game, and he is so good at it. It's unbelievable. Joe comes across as I was watching this match, and I'm not joking, guys. I watched it and I went, I see Joe Coffey as a bouncer. He's like, nah, mate, sorry, mate, you're not coming in with those trainers. And that's what it looked like when he goes like that. And he's like, oh god, I can't get into this club. But yeah, it was a great match. Joe Coffey did get the win, so that's more momentum for him and his brother and Wolfgang, which is a big thing. They come in across as the biggest faction in NXT UK right now. The match itself was bloody brilliant. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So much fun. Just check it out, guys. This moves us on to the next episode. This is episode 16 of NXT UK, and the first match of the night was a tag team match. Obviously, we had the unveiling of the NXT UK Tag Team Championship, and this time around it was Mark and Wolfgang coming out. They were taking on Ashton Smith and my boy, my man, Ligero from League. And I'm going to mark this match now. It gets a 0 because Ligero and Mark and Ashton Smith lost. And my boy, Ligero, shouldn't lose. Ever. Never. No, I'm joking. It was a good little fun match. I really enjoyed it. It was... you expect, Gallus being the big faction right now on NXT UK brand to dominate, but they didn't. And Ashton Smith didn't really come across that well in this one. Ligero did. Maybe I'm just biased. But yeah, Ligero came across. He flipped over Ashton Smith to take out Wolfgang. But Ashton was like watching on, like, I mean, he got taken out by Mark Coffey, which obviously got Gallus the victory. But it was just like, what are you doing, lads? Majority of the match was a great start to the show anyway, because you had high flying moves with Ligero. Ashton Smith can do both high flying, grappling and striking, so that's always fun. Wolfgang is just fun. Wolfgang can get the crowd either booing or cheering. If he's heel or face, it doesn't matter. He's so good at interacting with the crowd, and that's what his job was really in this tag team match. And this was more like showing what Mark can do, and Mark came across really well in this match in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, a decent start to the show. Big ups for Ligero and Wolfgang, the veterans in this match, because they were so good in it. Next up we had the official approval that next week on NXT UK we will see Rhea Ripley versus Isla for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Not really going to give this a score. It's a bit of a big segment for the show, but it wasn't really much into it. Rhea Ripley just said, I'll see you next week, and that was about it. But yeah, it's now official. We are going to get the first title defense for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Next up, we had Joseph Connor, and he was taking on Jack Starz. Jack Starz is back on NXT UK. Again, very quick match in this one. Connor's got the victory. It was a squash match, guys. I'm not going to lie. But it did what it needed to do. Shows how aggressive Joseph Connors is. The guy's a psychopath when he was in the ring. You can see it in his eyes. Body language literally tells you that throughout the whole match. Starz really didn't get much into it, and they kept on calling him the self-made machine. Okay, I guess. But yeah, very quick match. Connor's got the victory. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. You could skip this match if you needed to. Next up we had Jinny taking on Xia Brookside. This for me was really good. I was impressed by Brookside for this match. For someone so young and so inexperienced, like she says, she's 18 years old. And Jinny being the current Progress Women's Champion, both women just really did a fantastic job in it. I think Jinny is, for me, she's underrated on the NXT UK scene right now, and I can't wait for her to actually challenge it for champions. Obviously right now she's a heel, and Rhea Ripley's the current NXT Women's Champion is a heel as well, so I can't see heel versus heel just now on the NXT UK brand. But Jinny would be a fantastic champion as well. She's done a good job on Progress. I've been catching up on that. So yeah, but the match itself was brilliant. It was a good little back and forth type of match. It shows off pretty much Brooke is, again, very, very inexperienced compared to the woman she was in the ring with. But it just shows she can hold her own against these kind of opponents. And that's what it was. It was showing a future star, I think, in this one. Jinny came across getting the victory. That's great momentum for her. She has. I think she needs more and more matches like this. And it just shows, yes, Brooke is losing her matches, but she's not, it's not being like overwhelming defeats. She's held her own, but she still loses. So for me, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It's not the best match of the show, but it's just impressive of both women's ability, especially mostly Jinny. After that, we had Zack Gibson and James Drake pretty much got a quick promo in the ring saying what their aims are, and that's pretty much the NXT Tag Team Championships. It really was a great promo from Zack Gibson because the crowd just hates the guy, but you can tell he's so good at his promos. And James Drake doesn't say oh. And I think that's smart. You let the guy who's really, really good at doing the promos do all the talking, and your tag team will go far. These guys are probably, I think right now there's 3 tag teams who could hold the titles first time round, and that's Zack Gibson and James Drake, Wolfgang and Mark Coffey, and obviously Trent Seven and Tyler Bates. Those are the 3 teams you kind of go, they could hold the titles. They could elevate this new title. But and this promo really was doing that. They're putting their aims on the tag team titles. But it's a bit of a shame. I do like Zack Gibson as well as a singles competitor. So hopefully he can still continue to both do his singles and tag teaming, because I'm happy with that. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, mainly because Zack Gibson is really good on the mic. Last but not least, we had our main event, and it was Undefeated Streak versus Undefeated Streak, and this was Eddie Dennis versus Dave Mastiff. I'm not going to complain. I absolutely enjoyed this match. It's 2 big guys beating the crap out of each other. Yes, Eddie is a skinny, tall, big guy. Well, Dave is a big guy. And it was fun. It was fun to watch. I was impressed with Dave's in-ring skills. They had plenty of time. I think it was the right amount of time for about 13 minutes in this match. So that's really, I think really showed off both men's ability. Again, Eddie Dennis for being, he's like massive, is that lad. He's scaredly tall. Like you saw him, eclipse Dave, and Dave's quite a tall guy himself. I can't say I'm like 5 foot nothing here. So, but yeah, it's like those guys was just like, it was like watching 2 Goliaths going at it, and that's what you want to see sometimes. It's much better than what we got with Dave Mastiff versus T-Bone. I think that was a good match, but I think this was a much better match, mainly because Eddie Dennis is a really good opponent for most people. He's a big guy, but he can do a lot of things in the ring, and he can hold his own, and I think that was the best thing about it. It looked like Eddie was going to get the victory quite a few times, and you could see the crowd was like, oh no, don't let Eddie get the victory. Dave did get the win. I think it's the right decision. I think this could be the tipping point for Eddie. I think this could really put a psychotic kind of dangerous Eddie Dennis into the NXT UK scene. He's already been an arrogant heel. Now, losing his undefeated streak could be quite interesting to see. I want to see Dave Mastiff versus Pete Dunne. I think that could be an interesting match. Pretty much, I also want to see Joe Coffey versus Dave Mastiff as well. I think that could be a really good match. But yeah, the match itself was entertaining from start to finish. There was certain spots in the match you just didn't expect big guys like them to be able to pull off, and they were. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It wasn't as good as the main event from the first episode, but it was very, very good closing match for the show. So yeah, and there you go, guys. That was NXT UK review. So I'm gonna mark both shows separately. So for episode 15, I am going to give this. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was the better of the two, and I am going to give episode 16 a 7 out of 10. So, you know, I think both shows were good. It's, again, they're building up storylines, they're building up factions, they're building up tag teams, and that's what you really want to see. You're seeing number one contenders being built as well, and it's continuing storylines between Gallus and Mustache Mountain or British Strong Style. So that's interesting in its own. But yeah, what was your favourite bit of NXT UK this week, guys? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe and press that bell to keep notified. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do. It's at SmackTalk YouTube. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Boise88. And I'll see you guys next time on SmackTalk Wrestling Reviews.